Inshallah, today we'll be talking about Salafi, who are the Salafi, and what does it mean, the term Salafi. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. If you have been going online a lot, you notice that there are a lot of people now who call themselves Salafi. In fact, there is a whole movement going on. It's called the Salafi movement. So what is the origin of this dawah, and what does it mean? The word Salafi is an Arabic word that means to precede. So Salafa in Arabic means something that came before. So the term was actually, used by scholars in the past to refer to the righteous generations of Muslims, like the companions, the followers of the companions, and the righteous generations of Muslims generally. So Salafi or Salaf are the righteous generations of Muslims that came before us, like the companions, the tabi'un, and those who follow the companions and those who follow them in righteousness. So this is what the word Salafi means. That is from the viewpoint of linguistic meaning of the word Salafi, as to proceed. Sheikh Muhammad bin Salih al-uthaymeen, he says that هناك فرق بين العقيدة السلفي وفرقة السلفي. Says there is a difference between the belief, the Salafi Aqidah, and Firqat al-Salafi. So there is a difference between the belief and the group. What does it mean, Aqidah al-Salafi? Aqidah al-Salafi is, according to Sheikh Muhammad al-Uthaymeen, he says it is compulsory on every Muslim to have Aqidah al-Salafi. So what is Aqidah al-Salafi? It's Aqidah that was derived from the Quran and the Sunnah. For example, the verse in Surah Al-Nisa, verse 115, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يُشَكِّكَ رَسُولَهُ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. Allah the Most High says, whomsoever goes contrary to the Messenger of Allah, after the guidance has become clear to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we shall surely leave him to that which he has chosen, and we will on the day of judgment put him in the hellfire, and what an evil end. So in this verse, Allah says, whoever goes contrary to the messenger, and he follows a way other than the way of the believers. So here Allah is threatening anyone who follows a way, a manhaj, that is contrary to the way of the believers. Allah is threatening such a person with hellfire. So the question is, what is the way of the believers? And more than one among the scholars of tafsir, most of them say that Sabil al-Mu'mineen, the way of the believers in this verse, is referring to the way of the companions. So this is how Aqidah al-Salafi came about, that whatever you are going to believe as a Muslim, whatever interpretation you are going to give to any verse or any hadith, must be in line with the understanding of the righteous generations of Muslims. Because as it was established in an authentic hadith from the Prophet that khayru qarni, the best of generation is my generation. So the best of understanding, by no doubt, is also the understanding of the generation of the Prophet followed by the Prophet and followed by the generation that came and the generation that came after them. So based on this, the belief that you must not understand the nusus, the text of the Quran and Sunnah, in a manner that contradicts the understanding of the righteous generation of Muslims. This is Aqidah al-Salafi. This is just what it means. So by this, Salih al-Uthaymeen, he says it is compulsory for every Muslim to have this belief. This Aqidah is something that is compulsory on every Muslim based on the verse that was quoted earlier. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you go contrary to the way of the believers, the way of the companions, Allah says He's going to put such a person in the hellfire. So this verse alone is enough for us to say that having the belief, Aqidah al-Salafi, is compulsory on every Muslim. That you do not, understand the Quran or the Hadith in a way that is contrary to the way of the believer, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says if you do that, He's going to lead you to that you have chosen, and then He will put you in hellfire. So from this we get that yes, it is compulsory on us to follow the way of the companions. And this was the dawah that Sheikh Muhammad Nasiru Al-albani, he really was the one that in this our time, really made it popular and known amongst our people. And a lot of scholars also welcomed the term Salafi, and he began calling himself Salafi, and he said there was nothing wrong in calling himself Salafi. So this is how the Salafi dawah, became really strong in our day and time. Even the Salafi dawah is something that had been coming, from scholars from time immemorial, but in our time it became very popular, with that term Salafi from Sheikh Al-albani, alayhi rahmatullah. So, but Sheikh Muhammad al-Uthaymeen, he makes a distinction. He says there's a difference between the belief and the group. And he also said, لا شك أن فرقة السلفي هم أقرب الفرق إلى الصواب. That there is no doubt that the Salafi group are the closest group to the truth because of the underlying ideology behind the group. But at the same time, he condemns, having a group and calling yourself Salafi. And he quoted the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he mentioned the division of the Ummah into 73, and the Prophet ﷺ said, stick to one, makana ana alayhi wa ashabi, and the group that remains on that which I am on and my companions. So Muhammad ﷺ, commenting on this hadith, he says that this hadith is an advice from the Rasul that whenever kullama zuhara fil ummah firqa, at any time a new group surfaces in the Ummah, فَعَلَيْكَ أَن تَعْتَزِلْ كُلَّ وَاحِدٍ مِنْهَا, that you should stay away from any of those groups. So we need to get this thing clear, that Salafi is not, or the group of Salafi is different from the Aqidah. That is what I want us to establish. You see, the Aqidah is compulsory on us as Muslims. To believe that Quran and Sunnah should be understood and practiced according to the understanding and practice of the righteous generations is something that is compulsory on Muslims. But when we see that there is a group that has gone extreme in their, tabdir and their refutations, they call themselves Salafi, we don't go by the name, we go by the reality of what. So you see a lot of people calling themselves Salafi, and they don't even know what, the word means. So, al-ibratu bil haqiqati la bil musamiyat. We express things by their realities, not by the names given to them. If someone calls himself Salafi and he doesn't really, follow the Salafi dictates, then such a person is not Salafi. And like we said, Sheikh Nasiru Al-albani says there's nothing wrong in calling yourself Salafi. But the reason I usually refrain a lot from using that terminology is because of the way people have, let's say, bastardized the name in such a way that when somebody says Salafi, a lot of people feel, repulsed by them because of the way those who are pioneering or those who call themselves Salafi, the group, have become too extreme in their, and also some of their beliefs that is not quite in line with the beliefs of the Salaf. So that is just the difference between Aqidah to Salafi and Firqa to Salafi. And it's very important, as we've established before, that we Muslims, we have this Aqidah. Let's say, for example, somebody comes and he uses the verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا عَلَيْهِ وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Allah and His angels, the salutations on the Prophet ﷺ, all you who believe, do salutations on the Prophet ﷺ. So somebody will use this verse as an evidence to come up with any, rubbish dua and say he's doing salat on the Prophet. It's not compulsory to limit yourself to salat al-Ibrahimiyya. Then we tell him that this verse that you have interpreted like this, who among the companions understood like this? Who among the followers of the companions? Who among the righteous generation? Among the mazhabs we have, how many people understood it like this? If you cannot find one, then you say this is contrary to Sabil al-Mu'mineen. This is what yushaqiqu Sabil al-Mu'mineen. This contradicts the way of the believers. Another example is what people do, and they say they love the Prophet, so they will celebrate his birthday, and it's from showing love to the Prophet. So we ask them, this understanding that you're coming with, who among the Sahabas understood it like this? Who among the Tabi'un? Who among the followers? Who among the mazhab, the mazahib that we have? If you cannot find any, then we say that this is contrary to what Sabil al-Mu'mineen. So this is just what dawah to Salafi is all about. Because in the hadith where Rasulullah predicts the division of the Ummah into 73, and he says the right one is the one that follows Quran and Sunnah, you will not see any group nowadays that does not claim to follow Quran and Sunnah. So then how do we distinguish really? So the distinguishing factor is to say that what we understand the Quran and Sunnah according to the understanding and practice of the righteous Muslims before us. And this is what differentiates the true, guided path from all the other misguided paths. All the other paths believe in Quran and Sunnah, but their interpretation and the methodology in which they use to interpret. So somebody will quote a verse to support his bid'ah, for example. But when you go with the manhaj of the Salafi and say, no, we will not interpret any verse or any hadith of the Prophet except in the manner in which the righteous generations of Muslims, Sabil al-Mu'mineen, they understood it. Then all the problems becomes clear, and we clearly know those who that are misguided and those that are actually guided. So this is what Salafi is, just a manhaj. It's a methodology that one uses in arriving at the truth. And this is what the reality, the hakika of dawah to Salafi, that whatever you're going to do as a Muslim, whatever interpretation you're going to build on, you should have an imam. You should have somebody who said something similar among the scholars of the, just like Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, he says in his poem, Al-ilmu qala Allahu qala Rasuluhu qala sahabatu hum ulil irfani. That knowledge is qala Allahu qala Rasuluhu. Allah said, the messenger said, qala sahabatu, and the sahaba said. Also in the hadith of Irbad ibn Sariyah, Rasulullah said, alaykum bi sunnati wa sunnati khulafaya rashidin. On you is to hold on to my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided khulafa. So from these evidences we see that Rasul has advised us to follow the way of the companions. And also from the verse we quoted, Allah has not just advised us to follow the way of the companions, but he threatened that whoever deviates from the way of the companions, he's going to put such a person in the hellfire. So this is what it truly means to be Salafi. This is that you practice Islam and that you understand, all your understanding is in line with the understanding of the righteous generations. In a generation where everyone is a scholar and everyone comes with their own opinion. So it's only right that we go back to the understanding of the righteous predecessors. And with this, we've come to the end of the episode. If you have any questions or recommendations, please drop it in the comment box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you get a notification each time we make a new video. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.